Hello, my name is Tanya and I'm a science communicator and an environmental journalist, and it's my great delight to take you through this module which focuses on strategic social media. As background, I've trained many scientists and researchers in media and communication, and I have also managed the social media accounts of research organisations and major scientific conferences, so it's my great delight to take you through what I've learned. Strategic social media is one of the specialised short modules that we're including as part of the Impact Masterclass. By now, you'll have been through the introductory module, Module 1 focusing on audience and strategy, and Module 2, which looks at using the templates, writing guides and resources that have been provided for you. Strategic media is one thing that we wanted to include because it's very important that researchers build their public profiles, not only to get their research to target audiences, but also for the benefit of developing their careers and establishing networks. Social media is incredibly useful for making sure your research is heard by the broader public, by potential or current collaborators, by people who have an interest in your work, and also it's useful for building your profile as you progress through your career. So, let's get started. Here is an overview of the structure of Module 5. As with other modules, we will start with the aims and outcomes. We will then explore what social media is, how it is useful, what it is good for, and how using it well can increase the impact of your research. You'll get an introduction to which platforms are which, the platform basics and their different parameters. Then we'll explore where your stakeholders are within the social media landscape, and we'll do a couple of activities that put you to work exploring which social media platforms stakeholders are using so that you can use this knowledge to reach them. And you will plan and draft some posts to use on social media platforms to reach those different stakeholders and target audiences. We will look at learning from people who use social media well, and we'll explore some top practical tips and tricks that will make life easier for you. Finally, we will bring it all together. The aims of this module are to give you an understanding of social media and its various platforms so that you know the difference between, say, X, formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and so on. You'll also gain an understanding of using social media to increase the impact and influence of your work and to further your career as a researcher. And you'll gain an understanding of the different types of platform, which to use when, how, and to what purpose. The outcomes that we can expect from doing this module are that you will understand the different platforms, understand how a stakeholder map can be used to inform your social media content, in other words, what to post, and you will understand how to map different stakeholders onto the different platform types so that you can use your time and effort wisely. Many researchers ask, what is social media good for? In some circles, it might be thought that serious scientists do not waste their time on social media. But what I have found is that researchers who do use social media and use it well are able to establish themselves as thought leaders and have an influence on policy. This and many other things make social media particularly useful for researchers that are active in areas that have a lot of public interest, such as climate change adaptation and energy efficiency and so on. So, what is it good for? Social media can help you establish yourself as a thought leader, as I've previously mentioned. Social media is useful for building networks, and within those networks, showing yourself to be a person who knows what the latest research is, who knows what is going on, and who is well connected with different people in the field. Social media also helps you to build relationships with particular people, or it can help you to build and grow a community of interest that is focused on a particular topic. Social media is also very useful for acknowledging collaborators, supporters and funders. For example, you can tag or mention the people and organisations who have been involved in your research or made it possible. You can also use social media to listen to and learn about different stakeholders and other important audiences by seeing what they are posting on their social media platforms. That will give you an insight into the things they are actively interested in and posting about. Finally, you can use social media for education to increase public awareness of your research field and also to advocate for different aspects of your research that might be close to your heart. Introducing the platforms. In this module, we're mainly going to look at the platforms that are commonly used in the Western world, particularly in English-speaking countries, which we refer to as the Anglosphere. The first is a range of microblog platforms such as X, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, which is the microblogging platform of Meta, Facebook's parent company, Mastodon, and others. Microblogs enable people to share very short text posts or tweets, and they can include images and video as well. X, which used to be known as Twitter, had been a dominant platform in the past, but is in a state of flux at the moment. Blue Sky is rapidly emerging as a popular successor to X, particularly among climate change researchers, other scientists, journalists, thought leaders, and other public figures. LinkedIn is an international platform that is aimed at the business community, so it's a professional social media platform. It's particularly used for advertising jobs and positions and for career building. Facebook has been around for many years and is one of the original social media platforms. It's popular among friend and family groups. Many people share family photos, events, and updates about their personal lives. Many organisations have a warm, friendly Facebook presence as well. Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, is similar but focuses on images. YouTube and TikTok are also used, and they are video platforms where people can share long or short videos of various lengths depending on what their purposes are. We are now going to go into the basics of each platform, and we're going to look in detail at the different parameters and specifications for each, starting with microblogs using X, or Twitter as it used to be named, as the example. Other microblog platforms such as Blue Sky, Threads, and Mastodon have similar formats and specifications. X allows text posts of up to 280 characters in length for people using the free version of the platform. People can pay a monthly subscription to become premium X subscribers, which allows them to share longer posts, up to 25,000 characters. I strongly recommend that you do not use that large amount of text on X posts. Aim for 70 to 100 characters because short, sharp and shiny posts are what works best on microblogs like X, Blue Sky and Threads. Posts achieve more interaction and are therefore more effective when they include images or short videos. Sometimes images are automatically generated by website links included in a post. You can also manually attach an image of your own choice. Images on X can be up to 5 megabytes in size, but try to use smaller file sizes as they will load more quickly. The dimensions that are recommended for images are 1500 by 500 pixels. Videos can be up to 140 seconds long and a maximum file size of 512 megabytes. Looking at LinkedIn. On this platform, you are talking to a more corporate audience. LinkedIn posts can be longer, up to 3,000 characters, compared with the shorter standard X post limit of 280 characters. Be aware that LinkedIn displays only the first 1 or 2 lines, or about 200 characters, of your post text on screen in a user's newsfeed before displaying the linked word "more" that people can click on to read the full post. Regarding visuals, you can include images on LinkedIn. They make a post more engaging. They can be up to 30 megabytes. You can have videos. The video file size can be up to 10 gigabytes and the duration can be up to 240 minutes. But similarly to other social media platforms, we recommend using smaller, easier to load file sizes. as long as that doesn't sacrifice the image or video quality too much. In general, shorter videos work best, given that people often have short attention spans, and it is hard to maintain a viewer's interest for more than just a few minutes. Now, I'm providing Facebook bases mainly for information purposes, because we find that most researchers use LinkedIn, X, and other platforms for professional use, and keep Facebook for personal use so that they can keep their family and personal information private. However, your research institute is likely to have a Facebook account, so having a knowledge of what works for Facebook or how Facebook is useful is beneficial. This will give you an understanding of what kind of materials you need to give to your university or institute communications team so that they can post on Facebook on your behalf. So, Facebook text can be up to 63,206 characters and comments can be up to 8,000 characters. But again, just because you have more space for words doesn't mean you should use all of the space allowed. People might use Facebook in a more leisurely way and read longer passages, but they don't want to spend a long time reading each post. For images, you can have up to 30 megabytes, video up to 10 gigabytes, and the duration, like LinkedIn, is quite long, 240 minutes. But again, don't use more than your audience can tolerate. 240 minutes or 4 hours is a very long Facebook video. Instagram is a platform that was made for people to share images. It is used in research fields where imagery is an important part of the work. The post text, or the captions that go with the images, this text can be up to 2,200 characters, but the visual cutoff for what text appears before the read more signifier is around 125 characters, so it's useful to make the most engaging information in the first few words. For images, use up to 1,080 pixels wide, and for in-feed videos, they can be 120 seconds long at the most, or up to 4 megabytes. For YouTube, the description text can be 5,000 characters, comments text can be longer, 10,000 characters, videos can be up to 128 gigabytes, and the duration could be up to 12 hours. Again, that is an enormously long amount of time. Generally, the best videos on YouTube are only 1 to 3 minutes long, but the long duration is useful for uploading presentations from conferences, for example, and other longer videos. Using platforms to match your needs and audiences. This is where you can be targeted and strategic. Microblogs such as X or Twitter and Blue Sky are useful for professional and personal use. Many researchers use it for both. Microblogs are good for broadcasting your research or sharing interesting articles to your peers, to connect with stakeholders, to follow or to become a thought leader yourself, and to share media on your subject of interest, or to attract the attention of media to your research. LinkedIn is designed for professional use. This is the platform where you will find government users, business and industry figures, companies, and innovators and entrepreneurs. It might be a good place to find the next job opportunity in your community, and it's also a good place to establish industry connections outside academia. Facebook is good for personal use, as I mentioned before, but your research institute, university or organisation will likely have a Facebook account that can share your research to highlight the work that's going on within their institute, especially if it's something that has an impact on the broader community. The audience that is looking at Facebook is mums and dads, individuals, or people with families. It has a warmer feel. Organisations use Facebook professionally to reach this audience. Universities often use Facebook to promote their expertise and their excellence in teaching to potential students. The media are increasingly using Facebook to share their stories and videos to extend the reach of the journalism that they produce. Instagram is used for both professional and personal use by many researchers. It's useful if your work generates a lot of appealing images. So, for example, researchers that are working in urban design that can share images that show what future cities could and should look like might find that Instagram is a great place to share their work and share the work of others within their community. It's also useful for doing short videos as thought leadership posts. This is where an expert or influencer does a short video talking to the camera in which they're just expressing their thoughts on a particular subject or sharing news that they've read. They produce these videos to be content that demonstrates their thought leadership and to help get the messages that are important to them out to a broader audience. YouTube in research circles is mainly used for professional use, though many people have YouTube for their own personal use, either to record their own videos or to watch videos. It's used as a streaming platform as well, and also as an online platform for watching television. Many organisations use YouTube as the place that they put their video files that they can then share on Facebook, LinkedIn or X. Many of these other social media platforms have what's called plugins to allow YouTube content to be shared elsewhere. It's also useful for short videos that express thought leadership similar to Instagram. And briefly, the other video platform to be aware of is TikTok, which is popular with younger audiences. Some universities are using TikTok to target future students. So these are the key platforms that you might use in your career, but do be aware that there are other social media platforms that are popular in other countries, such as WeChat and Weibo in China. The next step in using social media strategically is to find out who and where your important stakeholders are on the different platforms. So to illustrate this, I've made up a hypothetical scenario in which I'm a researcher that works at the Centre for Future Cities and I'm doing work on green roofs as a climate change adaptation strategy. In this scenario, I've used a combination of my own social media accounts, which you can see here on this screen in the table, and also the real social media accounts of the Smart Energy Council, the World Green Building Council, and the Gates Foundation. But for the purposes of this training, I've made up the Centre for Future Cities and its social media accounts and the hypothetical collaborators Professor Jane Doe and Dr. Joe Bloggs and their institutes. Now I've made these up, so don't go and look for these accounts online. You won't find them or you'll find someone completely different. So in this scenario, let's pretend that as a researcher, I have a paper that is sharing the results that I've come up with my collaborators. Together, we have found that green roofs on buildings help make them not only cooler through evapotranspiration, but they also mean that solar panels that are positioned on those roofs operate more efficiently. So we have a paper coming out, or I've got an executive summary or policy document that has been published online somewhere, and I want to share that research. So I will share that on my own social media platforms that I use for professional use. I will share it on my X or Twitter account. I will share it on LinkedIn. I won't share it on my personal Facebook account, but I will provide information to the communications people at the Centre for Future Cities so that they can share it on their Facebook page, and I'll share it on my own Instagram account as well. It's important to know the account handles of the people and organisations you want to mention in your posts. A handle is the combination of letters and or numbers that serve as the unique identifier of an account. My X handle, for example, is @ha_Tanya. So at my surname followed by my first name with underscore in between them. When you mention someone's handle in a social media post, you are said to be tagging them. Accounts can see or get notified when someone tags them, so tagging is a good way to acknowledge people, to draw the attention of others to them, and to show them that you are noticing their work. Now, the way I would go about this for each platform goes as follows. Here is what I would do for X or for Blue Sky or other microblogs. I will write a very short, sharp and shiny post with a link to the story and a beautiful image, if I've got one, of a green roof that is doing the work of making the building below cooler and that has a solar panel on it so that people can see this vegetated roof along with a photovoltaic panel. The post text itself should get straight to the key finding of the research. I would write something like, green roofs make buildings cooler and help solar panels operate more efficiently. Short and to the point. And then I would include a link to that research. If I've got space, I'll also include the handles of my collaborators with text like, new research from @FutureCitiesEDU with collaborators @Jane Doe 1967 @Uni Zurich and @Dr. Joe Blogs @Adaptation US. Thank you @WorldGBC or World Green Building Council for your support. If that doesn't fit in one tweet, I can split it into 2 tweets. Now, by including a beautiful image in there that is relevant to the research, it will stand out in the X feed of people who are browsing through the social media platform. By including the handles of my institute, it's more likely that the communications team will see it and either reshare or repost my post or compose their own one. Similarly, Jane Doe and Joe Blogs and their university comms teams, and also the supporting organisation World Green Building Council might see it and either repost, that's formally retweeting on what was formerly Twitter, or compose their own original posts. So you can see that by linking in stakeholders and collaborators, I increase the likelihood that this social media post will reach not only my audiences, but be amplified through other people's social media networks as well. With LinkedIn, posts can be longer. I would start with the same opening line as the one that I drafted for X, or a similar short statement about a key finding, and include a further 2 sentences providing more detail about the research or its importance in context. Again, I would include a link to the research and I would tag the accounts of my research centre, collaborators and their organisations as well. For Facebook and Instagram, I would provide my research centre communications team with post text similar to what I wrote for LinkedIn, including the link to the publication online and an image. Note that for each of these platforms, you can include multiple images. I would also provide the communications team with the Facebook and Instagram account handles of my collaborators so that it is really easy for them to share through the organisational communication channels. Now, what I might like to do also is draw the attention of other important stakeholders, like the Smart Energy Council, which is very interested in the efficiency of solar panels and other technologies. So I might add a mention of them to an X post. For example, saying, @Smart Energy Council, this is relevant to your work on solar energy, or a similar kind of commentary. If they were involved in the research, I would acknowledge them by tagging them as well. I would also acknowledge and tag funders and other financial or technical supporters. For example, if this hypothetical situation was funded by the Gates Foundation, which would be really great if it was, then I would tag them as a source of funding as well. Keeping a list of your stakeholders and their exact social media handles, like the example pictured in this table, is very useful. Which brings us to an activity. Where are your stakeholders? Now it's time for you to make your own work more visible in the social media space. So do so in this activity. Step 1. Take your stakeholder map that you produced in Module 1. For each stakeholder, look online and find their different social media accounts. They are usually easy to find from the main website. You can see here I've included a screenshot of the World Green Building Council website. The icons that link to their social media accounts are located on the top right-hand corner of their homepage. Step 2. Take what you've learned from each platform and work out what suits which platform. Ask yourself, will you use Instagram at all? Do you have visuals that will suit that? Do you need to use YouTube to host videos to share elsewhere? Take what you've learned today through each platform. Step 3. Think about the platform that works for each audience and how you will reach them. Step 4. Label the stakeholder map for each stakeholder and the preferred platforms through which you would like to reach them. In this next activity, it's time to plan and draft posts. So in this activity, step 1, take your summary brief or policy document or other online publication you want to share. As you continue your career, this could include other articles you have written for general audiences or fact sheets you've produced for the EBC website. Make sure you have the correct internet link you want to direct people to and the right image to illustrate the research. Step 2, take the stakeholder map you produced earlier. Add any other stakeholders that might have an interest in this specific paper or research. This is just a step to make sure you haven't missed anyone. Step 3, using the stakeholder map, choose the stakeholders you want to acknowledge. They might be involved in this research or those that you want to draw attention to this work. Step 4 is to create a reference table of stakeholders and their social media channels. This will look similar to the one that I showed in the hypothetical scenario earlier in this module. Step 5, draft posts for each of the platforms that you wish to share your work through, and including the tags of people or organisations that are suitable for tagging on those platforms in those posts. Step 6, have a go. Do some posts and reflect on the response and any feedback. The thing that I find with social media is that the best way to learn is to keep practicing and posting and learn from your experience. Over time, you will see different engagement will come from different posts, and you'll be able to use that knowledge and learning to inform your future posts. A really valuable thing you can do with social media, particularly if you're a beginner, is to learn from the people who are doing it well. The first step in being active on social media is to follow other accounts. Follow people whose work you admire. Follow people who are the ones that seem to have their finger on the pulse of what is happening in your field. Follow people who have an influence on public policy, and see how they share their information through LinkedIn, through X, and through any other platforms if they're appropriate. We have an article here from the Climate Hustle. It is their view of the climate top 15 influences for the environment, but there are many other accounts you might like to follow and learn from as well. As an exercise, look for people in your field that are professionally famous, influential, well-connected, and that have the reputation and followership that you would like to achieve. Follow them, learn from them, and set yourself the goal to be one of those social media influencers. You, as an expert, should be the one that is famous for this kind of work. Here is some quick tips for using each of the different platforms. For X and other microblogs, keep it brief. It is a microblog. Save the longer posts for other platforms. Keep the sentences simple. However, bear in mind that by only using a few words, there is a higher chance of being misunderstood. Make sure that you explain things clearly and accurately without oversimplifying. Microblogs are useful for sharing longer information that's online elsewhere. This is what I call a look over here, look over there post. So this might be more interesting information such as stories online, general articles, and so on. If you're sharing another story, consider writing a comment about what you find interesting or important about the story you are linking to. For LinkedIn, use this as a place to connect with colleagues and acknowledge their work. Share things that they'll find useful and that will grow your followership. People tend to follow accounts that are useful, so even if an event or an activity or research is not something that you are directly involved with, if you can alert other people who would find it useful to the fact that it's available, then they will appreciate that information sharing. For Facebook, a key tip is to keep your personal life private. So try to avoid, particularly if you value your privacy, sharing too much work activity on Facebook and making it open to public beyond your own personal network within Facebook. However, do give your research institute the information that they need so that they can post on the institute's Facebook accounts. And remember to include visuals that are engaging. Facebook is a very warm platform. It's a place for a sense of community and family. So images that show green buildings with people living in them suit that warm feeling of Facebook. Instagram is all about images, so focus on posts that have good visuals. You can also create word-based graphics that have an attractive background color or pattern and have text overlaid on them, like an inspirational quote or an interesting fact or figure. But photographs or illustrations are generally more powerful. YouTube and TikTok, use those for posting video thought pieces to show thought leadership, but also use YouTube to post videos that you can share on other platforms. The key tip with videos is do not make them too long. People have a relatively short attention span. For YouTube, a more news style video that you want to have a wider engagement should be 1 to 3 minutes long. A more informative video essay can be 10 to 15 minutes long, but you will need to have interesting visuals to maintain a viewer's interest. On other platforms like X, Instagram and TikTok, even 30 seconds in a video is long enough to convey a simple idea along with a link for further information. You can always direct people to more in-depth information that they can read at their leisure. For all of the platforms, be useful and interesting. Share information that sparks your audience's curiosity or that is useful to them. This might be details of upcoming events or opportunities in the field, or it might be breaking news of the latest research or a different perspective on a familiar topic. Remember to keep your cool. On all platforms, but particularly on Twitter, do not post in haste or in anger, particularly in reply to someone else's angry post. Try to keep cool and calm and collected and stay professional in your conduct. Sometimes there will be people, we refer to them as trolls, who get angry, particularly with research that's related to climate change, which has unfortunately become politically charged. Don't feed the trolls is a saying we have for social media. Don't engage with people who are being abusive, and you can always block those accounts. Don't be put off by the trolls though. There are plenty of good people you can follow, learn from and engage with. Also remember that your organisation or your institute is likely to have a social media conduct policy, so make sure you find out what obligations you're under in your social media activity as an employee. Now let's bring all the things that you've learned through all of the modules together. So with any new policy brief, journal article or other document, think about how you can use that to reach a broader audience and have more impact and see your research turned into policy that will benefit society. A starting point is to publish it on the IEA, Energy in Buildings and Communities website, and on other sites such as your Research Institute site. Also share it with other newsletters that might be active in your field. You can adapt the text, as we've talked about in other modules, to turn this work into a media release or opinion articles, stories for the conversation, and other stories that can be shared either by yourself or on your institute's website, or it might be with your research collaborators' websites as well. Once they are online, amplify these stories through social media, share them on LinkedIn, encourage your institute to share them on Facebook, share them through X, post them on Instagram if you've got good images to go with them. On an ongoing basis, keep sharing useful information along with your thoughts and reflections on the changes that are happening in your field, and that will establish you as someone who cares about the research field, who is intelligent and informed on the debate, and who has the expertise to give an evidence-based opinion. Amplify the work of current or potential collaborators and stakeholders. They will appreciate that, and it will also help them to value your research contribution and draw attention to your work. And use these different platforms to establish yourself as a thought leader. Finally, on behalf of my collaborators, Caroline and Dominique, I really want to thank you for taking the time to learn about communicating your research with a broader community, because this work that we have been doing with the International Energy Agency Energy in Buildings and Communities program we three care about enormously. Like you, we understand that we are facing enormous challenges locally and globally, and that in order to create a better future for ourselves, our children and our children's children, and for the planet and biodiversity as a whole, we really need to make some drastic changes to the way humans live on this planet. Having experts like you share your research, your expertise, and your knowledge and your insights into solutions to some of our climate change challenges is really inspiring and powerful. So we thank you for your interest in sharing this work more broadly. We strongly encourage you to keep going out there and doing it and spreading the word on the things that you're finding, and to make sure that your expertise is heard where and when it is needed. Thank you, and we hope to see your work out there benefiting people and the planet.